What does it mean for you to live a good life? Maybe it's having so much money that you never have to worry about anything ever again. Maybe it's about finding your true soulmate, that romantic partner who's going to fill your soul with passion and with intimacy and joy. Or maybe it's simply about getting to do the things that you love every single day. These are good places to start, but they're also ideas given to us by our culture. And you should know by now that the stories told to us by our media and by our culture aren't always true. So, what does it actually take to live a good life? Well, this is something that I'm very interested in, and through my research, I have gathered 5 pillars, 5 key areas of life that you need to focus on if you want to live well. And I've discovered what's basically in many ways a shortcut, and I'll tell you about that at the end. But first, here are the 5 pillars of a good life, and I've put them in priority order. Pillar number 1 is health. If you have your health, you are so lucky, and you probably take your good health for granted. I know that I certainly do. And when I think back on the moments when I haven't had my health, I really try and remember just what that was like. A few years ago, I got appendicitis, and it was the worst pain I've ever had in my entire life. And I remember sitting there in the hospital bed thinking, I would give anything to make this stop. Now, I was really lucky. We caught it just there before it got more complicated. The operation was smooth and I recovered well. But even then, I was bedbound for nearly a week, and I thought, oh my gosh, this is what life can be like if I don't look after my health. The main thing with health is that you feel it more if you don't have it. It's one of those things that you need to kind of have a good baseline in life, but if you don't have it, then it just drags everything down. For example, if you've got a toothache, all you're going to be able to focus on is that toothache. It doesn't matter how peaceful or calm or happy the rest of your life is, you're going to just be thinking, I can't not focus on this pain. And you can't do anything else properly until that pain has been fixed. And this is why health is so important. You need to be able to relax into and to trust your body. Now, I am not here to shame or blame anybody with a chronic health condition or try and make anybody feel bad. Just because you don't have good health, it doesn't mean you're a bad person or an unworthy person. And it also doesn't mean that your life must suck. In fact, if you've dealt with or are dealing with a chronic health condition, then you probably know more than most just how important it is to look after and manage your health. And of course, I'm not just talking about physical health. Health is holistic, meaning that your physical health and your mental health are connected. We just subdivide them so that doctors can specialize in certain areas. But really, having good physical health leads to having good mental health and vice versa. Here are just a few things that you need to make sure you're getting right in order to have good health and to give yourself the best chances of maintaining that wellness for the longest amount of time. The most obvious one is sleep. Please get enough sleep. If you're exhausted, just like if you're in pain, it makes it really hard to do anything else. Likewise, eat well. You literally are what you eat. You physiologically are the things that you put into your mouth and allow your body to process. So make sure that that stuff is of good quality. And likewise, make sure you consume good content. Your mind is the content that you allow into it. You've probably heard that you're the sum of the 5 people that you spend the most amount of time with. Well, in the modern era, it's probably more like you're the sum of the 5 content creators that you spend the most time with. And just like you wouldn't put moldy or rotten food into your mouth, make sure you're putting high quality content into your mind. And then finally, make sure you're getting some exercise. One of the biggest components in longevity of health is making sure that you're exercising and you're just regularly moving all the different parts of your body. We live such sedentary lifestyles that even just getting up and going for walks and then, putting some strength training or some cardio in a couple of times a week will just set you up and give you a good baseline to work from. Coming to the second pillar of a good life, money. In the same way that if you don't have any health, it will steal all of your attention. If you don't have enough money, it will steal all of your attention. Now, this isn't a money channel, and I'm not giving financial advice, but there are two things that I want to say about money. The first is that if you want to save, and oh my god, things are so expensive today that it's really hard to save, the number one thing I would suggest is just look ruthlessly at what you're actually spending money on and see what you can cut out. I've done this a couple of times and I've found that I can get a surprisingly large amount of money back just by renegotiating some bills, cancelling some subscriptions, and then being really, really disciplined about where I'm actually budgeting to spend my money. And then the second thing is money is very, very important, but making it the focus of your life is one of those traps that people fall into when they try and create for themselves a good life. And as I come on to the other pillars, you're going to start seeing why. And indeed, that brings me nicely to the third pillar of a good life, which is your relationship with yourself. Once you have your health and your finances in a good enough place, something radical happens. You have space. And in that space, you've got a little bit of time, a little bit of energy to start doing other things rather than just being purely in survival mode. And unfortunately, when people reach this stage, what our society normally does is just push them down the rabbit hole of distraction, distraction, distraction. And while there's nothing wrong with zoning out and enjoying a bit of entertainment, most people get stuck there. And so all they do in life is go to work to earn money, come back, zone out, go to bed, wake up, go to work, and repeat. If you truly wish to live a good life, then you need to use that time in a way that most people don't. And the best way that you can use that free time is to cultivate a relationship with yourself. You are the only person who actually knows what it's like to be you. You're the only person who knows how you really feel, what you truly think, and what you actually need. And you're also the only person who can get those needs met for yourself. That's some important stuff, right? And if this person was outside of us, we wouldn't hesitate to do everything in our power, give all of our time, money, and energy to make sure that that person was giving us what we need. But for some reason, because it's ourselves, we just don't do that. Most people don't really have any form of relationship with themselves. I know that before I started therapy, I certainly didn't. I used to spend all of my time and energy thinking what other people might want from me, really listening to that, and then trying to shape who I was so that I could give back to them what they needed in the vague hope that they might love me and then give me what I need. But that doesn't work, and it just made me horribly, horribly anxious. And that was because I had no idea of who I was. When I did start therapy 2 years ago, I started to find and reconnect with myself. And I've been cultivating that relationship every day. It's kind of hard work sometimes, to be honest, but all relationships are. And it has been the most worthwhile thing that I have ever done. If you resonate with my story or feel like you're in a similar sort of situation of not even knowing who you are, then the number one thing that I can recommend you do is just start noticing. You need to cultivate the skill of self-observation, which sounds kind of fancy, but it's really just looking at what you do during the day and how you feel. And you can do that right now. How do you feel right now? Just listen to what comes up. That's as hard as it is. And if you do this, you will find that you will sort of unconsciously start to change as you notice things about yourself that you need. Getting to this stage, where you're really cultivating a relationship with yourself, is when the good life starts to kind of open up, because you've gone from just focusing on survival, health, wealth, into this more sort of self-actualization part of things. And you can also really start to learn what you need and what you like and start building your life around that. Pillar 4 of the good life is your relationships with others. Psychotherapist and pioneer in family therapy work, Virginia Satir, said that you need 4 hugs a day just to not feel depressed. 4 hugs, just as like a bare minimum to try and stay alive and keep yourself mentally well. You need 8 hugs for a good level of mental stability, and then you need at least 12 hugs a day to actually be growing mentally. How many of us are actually getting that? I know that when I lived in a flat share, I certainly wasn't getting 4 hugs a day. And looking back, it kind of makes sense why that sucked. And hugs are just the start of it. Once you've reached stability in your money and in your health, and you've got a bit of a sense of your own self, the quality of your relationships basically dictates the quality of your life. This is because it is in relationship with others that we can truly see ourselves. You only know who you are because somebody else reflects that back to you. And I don't mean that in a codependent way wherein you need to live just to validate other people and other people tell you who you are and how you act. I mean that in relationship with another person, you get truly seen. You can express yourself to another person. You can show them some parts of yourself that you might not show anybody else. And in having that witnessed and validated, it's very good for you. And then, of course, everybody knows that life is richer when you have someone or many other people to share it with. And those people can support you not just in the good times, but also through the hard times. Finally, the 5th pillar of a good life is purpose. Once you have your health sorted, once you've got enough money, once you've got a good relationship with yourself and with others, you're finally in a place where you can open yourself up to a higher meaning and purpose. Now, I'll just say this up front. There is no meaning to life. Life is totally meaningless. And what that means is that you need to create this meaning. Which makes you really powerful if you think about it. You create all of the meaning in your life. And the meaning I'm going to focus on here is that of life purpose. Why are you here? What do you want to do with your life? What impact will you have on the world? Now, this can sound like career planning, and career planning is part of it, but this is much more than just thinking about the job you're going to do. This is thinking about what kind of life do you want to live? What impact do you want to have on the world? What do you want to spend the majority of your waking hours and energy for the rest of your life thinking, doing, and acting upon? Life purpose is such a huge topic and I'm really passionate about it, so expect to see more videos on this in the future. But for now, just know that life purpose is really what unlocks all of those brilliant ideas that you think a good life actually is. Right, that's it. That's how you live a good life. But if you're still here, I have a little treat for you. First of all, I want to thank you very much. Thank you so much for sticking with me and for sticking through this video. I always save my best pieces of advice for the end. So here's that gem that I promised you at the start. I've just shared the 5 areas of life you need to focus on if you want to live well. But really, there's kind of a shortcut that you can use if one of those areas doesn't work in the way that you actually wanted it to. This shortcut allows you to cut through the need for health, wealth, or any sort of relationship or even purpose. It's basically a cheat code. And that cheat code is accepting reality. If you are able to accept exactly what reality is, then you will live a good life. It won't matter if you have your health, or any friends, or any money, or any meaning. You will still be able to find peace. And if you don't believe me, there are thousands of stories out there that corroborate this as being the truth. One of the most famous is the story of Viktor Frankl. He was a Jewish concentration camp survivor who learned to accept the Holocaust. Now, I'm aware that this idea of totally accepting reality is difficult and seems like an unrealistic ideal for most people to aspire to. But even just applying this principle to the limited extent that you can will dramatically improve your life. Because whenever you fight with what is, you're going to lose, because it is what is. And so if you want to find peace and happiness, if you want to live a good life, it needs to be within reality. And learning to accept reality and to go with whatever it is unavoidable. So you may as well learn to choose to do it. If you'd like a place to start, then try the book Loving What Is by Byron Katie. It's probably the best book I've ever read. And that's a wrap on how to live a good life. It's easy to say and very challenging to do, but I believe that challenge is why we're all here. And we can either resist and fight and go kicking and screaming against what is the case, or we can lean in and accept and go with what life gives us while trying to cultivate what we know will give us the best life that we can. What do you think? Let me know your thoughts on how to live a good life down in the comments. Please hit like and subscribe if you'd like more content like this. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again soon.